There's a race against the clock to renew a ban on undetectable weapons, which is set to expire in just a few weeks on December 9th. It's taken on a new sense of urgency with the rise of 3D printing technology that allows people to make metal-free plastic guns in their own homes. Blueprints for one gun, which is known as the Liberator, have been downloaded more than 100,000 times. I want to bring in Congressman Steve Israel, Democrat from New York and chair of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. Good morning.
Thanks for having me on.
You've been spearheading efforts in the House to renew this bill. Where does it stand right now? Because I tell you, when you hear that number, 100,000 downloads, and you look at these guns, it's pretty scary.
Well, you know, Chris, you're right. The clock is ticking, and every day that goes by makes the situation much more dangerous for the American people. In 1980, we passed the Undetectable Firearms Act because we did not think that it would be a good idea to allow bad people to smuggle firearms through metal detectors on our planes and in high-security environments. That was done in the Reagan administration. It was renewed in the Bush administration. It was renewed in the Clinton administration, renewed again in the Bush administration. When we renewed that law, the prospect of a 3D printed plastic gun was science fiction. Today it is a reality, and we are only 2 weeks away from the expiration of that law. So we need to just very simply extend the law, modernize it, and protect the American people.
Well, let's talk about what you mean by modernizing it, because even if you renew a ban, how does law enforcement stay on top of this 3D printing technology, Congressman? I mean, is there anything else that you folks in Congress can do to help make sure that these guns don't get onto airplanes or into a courthouse, for example, where metal detectors are used?
Sure. Well, first of all, I have nothing against 3D printers. I think that they will transform. They can transform technology in our economy. I do have something against making it easier for terrorists and criminals to bring 3D printed guns through metal detectors. So here's what we need to do. We should extend the law that expires on December 9th, and we should also modernize it to require that when a gun is manufactured, that it has to have certain metal parts, and that's precisely what my legislation does.
And what are the chances it gets passed and gets passed before the deadline?
If it was passed under Reagan and if it was renewed under Bush and Clinton, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to pass it now, except for one reason, and that is this House Republican caucus is so obstructionist and so extreme that they have not yet lifted a finger or had a single hearing on this legislation. It is unacceptable that they would refuse to even have a hearing or schedule a vote on this bill when it was supported on a bipartisan basis over the past several administrations and in the past several Congresses.